The rains are here. Now, according to the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, 102 local governments across 28 Nigerian states are at risk of heavy flooding this year. Now, the 2020 flood projections will vary from moderate to severe flooding in most parts of the country, and rivers are likely to exceed flood level, with some low-lying states or low-lying areas will also be affected. Flooding, one of the most frequent natural disasters in Nigeria, has a devastating impact on the poor and vulnerable populations who live along riverbanks and rely on floodplains for livelihood. Joining me now is Akimbode Oluwafemi, Deputy Executive Director, Environmental Rights Action. It's nice to have you join me right now, Akimbode. Now, every year we keep getting this early warning from the weather agencies. Basically, what do we do, or what should we do with these projections and warnings that it's given out the beginning of every year? Can we start from there?
Good morning. It's so sad that once again we are discussing the issue of flooding in Nigeria and even what she will do. I think this has become a perennial problem that government and relevant agencies doesn't seem to be taking very seriously. And I say this with another sense of responsibility because the year 2020 itself has been, very bad year in the real sense of it. And I think that whatever we can do to avoid disasters, pains and agonies of citizens should be done, not to aggravate what we already have. Having said that, the predictions came very early. NIMET came around January, and then there were the flood predictions that also came early enough. I think by now the government and relevant stakeholders knows what to do. They know they need to sensitize the people. They know we need to clear the drainages. They know we need to do little we can do, even as citizens of these countries, not to dump waste and encourage urban flooding. But I bet little has been done since all those people. I think we need to do more to hold them accountable. What we saw from Lagos yesterday is extremely sad, and we never expected that we should be experiencing that again.
All right. Now, as it is now, if we have to, when these warnings and projections come, what is supposed to be the immediate response to it in order to avoid a case or situation of this kind of a severe flooding?
Okay, so when those warnings come, they're not just for the media to publish. They are early warning systems for which government is then expected to meet with citizens, community groups about how to address and prevent those floods. They're just not announcements. And so we expect the government to take that leadership, bring the relevant stakeholders together, look at where they need to work on dams, look at where they need to maintain channels, look at where they need to strengthen bridges. We are now seeing bridges collapsing across the country. Look at where maybe communities may even have to move away from the floodplains to somewhere safe, and then you bring them back where the floods are over. But you find out that what we've seen is that we just have these announcements and everybody go to sleep.
Okay. Now, but if we have to go practical a little bit, every year that we keep receiving these warnings, nothing is usually done. The floods come, people lose homes, people lose property, people lose their farms. Do we really have the capacity to act in a way that can prevent all of these floodings as a country?
I think we do have agencies that are supposed to take responsibility. And I bet, I don't think it's about capacity. It's about the political will. It's about how serious government is taking this issue, how serious it is for government when you find out that a 4-year-old has been washed away by rain, by flood, and you then sit down in your office comfortably and you're not looking at what to do. It's about how serious you can even mobilize the citizens themselves to take responsibility and take action and not dump waste on drainages and river channels. that's where we are. The government needs to take this issue very seriously.
Okay. Akimbode Oluwafemi, thank you very much for your time on the program. Thanks for your insight. Now that the projections are out, as usual, what kind of engagement should there be between the government and the people who fall victim to flooding?
Let us look at how did we get here. Briefly, we look at the fact that two major factors are responsible for flooding in Nigeria. We have the issue of climate change, unpredictable weather patterns that are causing floods globally, and governments are rising to put in place mitigation measures and response. We also have cases of urban flooding, which are largely due to poor urban planning, enforcement of urban planning, blockage of drainages and channels and the rest of them. And so when we again then have these predictions, what we do expect is that government doesn't just keep this document under the table, but to bring people together to form, to look at how to respond, and then you carry along the people, you do citizens mobilization. I spent the better part of my life in Oyo State, and Ibadan used to be one of those cities in Nigeria that we had so many floods. But I could still remember as a child, all those jingles that were played on, I think it was BCOS then, about how not to drop, garbage in the drains and stuff like that. We are not seeing that kind of citizen engagement. Neither are we seeing the government itself coming out with actions that will reduce the impact of these floods on the people, and that's worrisome.
All right. As it is now, what critical infrastructure do we need as a country, as a people, in order to avert this flooding?
I think first is that the federal government should set up a committee or a meeting, or bring together all the commissioners of environment, the necessary agents, NEMA, NIMET, and the rest of them, to look at those communities that will be impacted on. What exactly do we need to do? What do state governments need to do? What do local government needs to do? What do citizens themselves need to do? And then we look at urban flooding like Lagos. In Lagos, it's an emergency. I expect the Honorable Governor, I think they're trying to clear some drain. And from some of the reports of the main channels they are clearing, we see places where citizens actually are rebelling against the state. And that means they need to bring the citizens together. They need to understand why they need to embark on this project. And it is an emergency now that they need to clear the drains in Lagos. They need to embark on citizen engagement and let evil citizens take responsibility for their immediate perimeters.
All right. Now, issues of the environment are obviously on the concurrent list, where the state, local government, federal government can act depending on what the capacity they have. Now, but when it comes to the sharing of responsibility, that template as to when something happens, what should the local government do, like you mentioned, what should the state government do, what should the federal government do, there doesn't seem to be a clear-cut template when state actors have to act. And sometimes none of them will act, or other times they are acting at cross purposes. What do you say?
Exactly my point. There should be clarity on the role of local government. There should be clarity on the role and responsibility of state government, and clarity on what the federal government is responsible to do. We know that this is a recurring disaster, a recurring natural phenomenon in Nigeria. We just cannot sit down and fold our hands and wait for people to die and property loss, and nothing is done. So I think government at this point needs to look holistically at the issue of flooding in Nigeria and come out with concrete action plan that will be very clear about the federal government role, the state, the local government, and citizens themselves.
All right. We have to leave it here now. Akimbode Oluwafemi, Deputy Director, Executive Director, Environmental Rights Action. Thank you so much for talking to us.